One of the problems that I think we have, well, not only problem, something that we need to kind of balance is exactly this. So offering unique experience, meaning giving customers and prospects the possibility to choose what they want without overloading them with too many options that are essentially kind of meaningless to them. Rather than talking about best available rate, not refundable, or pre-templated and predefined packages that are totally meaningless to most of the users that we might have, why can't we eventually unnest, right, this information and reveal what's behind standard, what's behind deluxe, what's behind the best available rate, but more likely and more importantly, let the customer and the prospect feel in control of what they're going to be having. What you, Silvia, have to say in terms of revenue management, because I said, I guess, especially from that perspective, it might be a little bit difficult, but I guess that this is the only way through which we can definitely generate more demand and, more importantly, even convert more that demand into customers.
Yes, I like the term that you used, unnest, which is actually perfect for what would be really my wish for the future, the way we can sell our rooms. Starting from the rooms, but going down to the rate plans and arriving to the ancillaries, which is something I really care about, because it might not be, our core business to sell ancillaries and dynamic packages, but still it helps on the revenue side. And more importantly, it really allows the guest to personalize its stay. So really choose at the end, okay, besides the room, the rate that I chose, what other services, experiences do I want to experience on property? Again, here, there's a problem of standardization. So most of the times we just put, all the ancillary services through dynamic packages, and we sell them all throughout the same room types or rate plans, no matter what the different customers target we have. So you might end up that a family gets offered the same ancillary services to the couple and whatsoever. So they're exactly the same. Yeah. They become not relevant. So what I see is that we should actually work on nesting on a kind of flow chart where we start from the segment, then we analyze who is our target, that it gets offered the perfect room, combination room type, rate plan, and then based on the flow that the customer is following, we display the perfect fits for ancillaries. So we display to the customer what can be perfect for him to purchase, and we convert better.
Exactly. And I think it comes back to this again. We need a new language and we need a new structure how we do this, because it's all about data, as you guys said. And we need to collect the right data from the beginning of the journey in order to be smarter presenting them stuff that they might be interested in, which is relevant to them. And that's currently not the case. Yeah, we're getting all the stuff which we don't not really interested in. We have all these ancillaries which maybe are not relevant to me because there's no really system. We don't have that data. We haven't collected that data, and we are not capable of presenting that data currently on the technology we're using. And that's something which has to change, to your point. And that's something which we are tackling and we're trying to do. We want to change for the industry. It's exactly that, because you don't want to be offered a baby cot or something like that when you're traveling with your spouse, vice versa. When you're traveling with your kids, you want to have all this kind of family stuff, but you don't want to have the romantic dinner necessarily, or you can't use it, right? So how do we do that? And it comes back when you say ancillaries, room types, rate plans. In the static packaging you were saying right now, we have to fix everything. You have to fix a certain room type, you have to fix certain ancillaries, you have to fix maybe a rate plan which comes to it, or maybe you have a choice of that, and that becomes very static. And there's no dynamic thing or a customization possible, or there's no suggestions possible. And I think that in itself is a problem. And when we look at new technology as well, let's say artificial intelligence and machine learning, we can't really benefit from that stuff, because the data, the way how we present it and put it on the shelf doesn't really help us, because all we know is the guy is looking for a standard room. He's looked for the family package, but he doesn't want the family package. So that's it. That's the data points I have. I don't have he was looking for. He's traveling actually with 2 people. He's actually, the IP address is coming, showing he's from the US. So US customers maybe prefer that. He's traveling at that period of time. There's so much data points we can collect in advance where we can, in real time, actually change the retail displays, bundle dynamically stuff which he likes to see, showing the images they maybe like to see, and so on. And right now, I think that's the main problem is that we are used to an old way of thinking in the hospitality industry, and we're not moving forward. As long as we change that, as long as we have new technology which allows us to do this, and when we finally start doing really retailing, and where we find that information and really get the answers, because today we don't know actually, and nobody knows because we can't measure it.
Totally. And also when I think about something which is really still old, like I see some hotels that are still showing those kind of long stay packages where you have like everything included for 3 days, all experiences and everything. So that might work for some properties because they might have a specific target customers, and absolutely they have to use it. But for other hotels, we all know it's just something that you put on your website but never converts or bring any bookings. So Disneyland, for example, which I'm a very big fan of, does this. He does these long packages where everything is included, but they have a clear positioning and they have very clear who their customer targets are. But besides that, they also segment a lot on their target customers. So they know that they have this specific segment which is asking for this specific product, but they also give other options to the customers. So I think we should really become a little bit more aware of these limitations that we might have. And again, it all comes back to, yet again, understanding who are your customers and really create a customized experiences for them.
Yeah, we talk about, I mean, Disney, you mentioned Disney World. Disney World is actually a brand, and therefore they can leverage, they can afford eventually to offer more what they want rather than necessarily unbundling or unnesting everything to meet the customer's needs, even though they do that. But as hotels and as hotel industry, hotels, we are perfectly all aware of the fact that hotels are probably the most commoditized item and product across all sectors, and we cannot afford that anymore. And I really guess, retailing is the way. Retailing in the sense that of really, again, I said it before, but I want to highlight that again. The real point is about, yes, offering a custom experience, the possibility for users to create their own custom experience without us, hotel professionals, so hotel operators, to overload them with totally meaningless solutions for them. And since we have multiple targets, of course, we need to define what is meaningful for each specific target without offering everything to everyone. Because otherwise, it's always the same old story. Talking about marketing, I always refer to the saying, marketing to everyone is marketing to no one. We all know that, but that's exactly what we have been doing.
Yeah, I would add to this. I think you're absolutely right. And I think the difficulty is, and that's also, you can see the success of some of the economy design brands, which have a more clearly defined customer audience, or like Disney, your example, has a very clearly defined customer audience and experiences. But for the problem for the majority of the hotels are, they need to fill their inventory 365 days, and they have multiple segments and multiple type of experiences, from business days to leisure, vacation, maybe they cater to meetings and events, and then they want to fill the hotel over 365 days a year. And there becomes the confusion in terms of, oh, we need to have 15 packages which are not relevant to, which are only relevant to 2% of the customer mix. And that's exactly the problem. And that's why we need new retail technology for those types of products, which actually allow that. And it's really, like you said, I mean, we need to have the technology, and we need to educate how you can buy hotel stays. Because if you want to buy a hotel stay in things of a functional stay, meaning more a commodity, let me give a room, I don't need a really complex buying process. In contrast, when I want to buy a new car, for example, I'm totally willing to go in a configurator and play around with it and spend 10 minutes or 15 minutes in the configurator to get basic an offer. And when I plan my vacation, I might be willing to spend more time on that anyway, because I'm doing a lot of research as a customer when I go and spend on vacation. I'm going on multiple sites. I'm going in reviews. I'm reading this, I'm reading that, blah, blah, blah. And I spend a lot of time. So I think we also have this, we are afraid, a lot of hoteliers are afraid, if we make it too complicated, then we lose, we drop out, or we have a lot of dropouts. And that is the wrong starting point, an assumption, because that might be true when you want to buy and sell a commodity, and it's got to be made easy. But if you really want to have something complex, you need some personalization mechanism. Ideally, they're smart. To your point, you can filter based on my behavior. You filter out only the relevant stuff and show me only the relevant stuff. That would be perfect. But in order to do that, you need to be able to display it in multiple data points and break down, not in standard room and deluxe room. No, you need to break it down in high floor, this view, close to this, etc. What's important to me? Otherwise, you will never be able to find out, and you will never be able to really take advantage of new technology like artificial intelligence.